5, 6, 7, 8. Rock step, triple step, rock step, cha cha cha. Rock step, cha cha cha. Rock step, cha cha cha.
All right. Welcome to the Degender Dance Podcast. My name is Lou. My pronouns are they, them.
My name is Kate, and my pronouns are they, them.
Amazing. Just two they, thems ready to talk about dance.
Dance and stuff.
Dance and stuff. Lots of stuff. Not just dance. Lots of things.
Mm-hmm.
What is Degender Dance, Kate? What is this thing that we do? Tell us where the name came from and where you started.
Okay, yeah, that's a great place to start. So I've been teaching salsa mostly and some bachata for about 12 years. And during the pandemic in 2020, I transitioned to being non-binary and agender. And I just had this wave of disappointment in my dance community around, I don't know, just being welcomed and feeling like I was safe there. And so with a lot of that movement of people coming out and having more visibility, I was like, maybe something I can do and remain in the dance scene is kind of carve my own path with creating space that is degendered and safe for everyone to be there. And then we started kind of just shooting the shit about it.
Yeah, and then it was like, I'd like drive you home from a social or from class or something like that, and I'd like drop you off at your place, and before we knew it, we were having an hour-long conversation about how the dance world was driving us crazy as non-binary people, and we were always like, this should be a podcast. And Degender Dance ended up being many more things than just a podcast, but here we are, ready to podcast.
Yeah, and maybe like, you want to talk a little bit about how we met? Because we have a creative background before we met, too.
Yeah, totally.
Or before we made Degender Dance a thing.
Right. Yeah. Well, we met actually before I was really all in on partner dance. We met at an open mic night called Shit Gold that was mostly experimental performances. And it was a really wacky, amazing community here in Seattle that ended up dying in the pandemic and being retransformed into something called Short Shorts. But it was just like this really weird den of artists that was like a third place where we'd gather once a week and do weird stuff, which is very like, it was super dance adjacent.
Absolutely.
There was a lot of contemporary dancers there. And also the thing of like gathering once a week to make art together is what social dances are as well.
Totally. Yeah. It felt like a space where basically any kind of artist could come and improv and do works in progress. And that is what partner dance is you come together, you improv. There's like a certain amount of parameters that you're working within. And so Lou and I just became quick friends. And we had lots of mutual friends and we did a lot of art stuff. We did a couple art shows. We tried to make a magazine. And then we got really kind of like dug into this degender dance idea because of our identities being kind of subjugated to difficulty on the dance floor.
Yeah, it's hard to be a non-binary person in an art form that was founded in binary genders.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's like complex being someone that literally is written out of existence in the rooms that we exist in.
Yeah, it became really challenging. And I was having like an identity crisis around it because it was my full-time job.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, I gotta like get better at this or get out.
Yeah. Where did you get the name from? You're the one that made up this incredible name for us.
I was following Alok Menon. I think that's how you say their name.
Yeah.
And really inspired by the work and the writing that they do. And they kind of started a degender fashion movement.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, that's what dance needs.
Absolutely. That's really cool. I love that it comes from a look. I love a look.
Yeah, and just like so inspired by a personality and a creator coming forward and being the visible face of a movement like degendering fashion. And fashion, of course, it's a creative space for people, and a lot of genders are erased out of fashion too, and a lot of bodies, and it's so I was just really inspired by a book I read by them.
Fashion, I think, has a really fascinating overlap with dance as well because they're both outward expressions of inward feelings.
Mm,
And yeah, I think that fashion has a lot of overlap. And it's another thing it was extremely binary.
totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what about you? Do you want to talk a little bit about what drew you to partner dance, where that came from for you, and why you're still here doing
Yeah.
it?
Partner dance was something that I was always super attracted to, even when I was a little kid. If I saw partner dance out in the world, I was just like so attracted to it. And I also, was like my father is part of the silent generation, so he was a teenager during the swing era. So and also my grandmother was did swing dance as well. She did, they called it jitterbug, because they were white. And they raised me with a little bit of partner dance around, a little bit of swing dancing was happening around me. And then when I was a preteen and the swing revival happened, I was all for it. And I took, Lindy Hop. Lindy Hop might be a little too much grace. Probably very East Coast swing,
Mm-hmm.
classes when I was, 13. Dancing to the Big Bad Voodoo Daddies and stuff like
Mm-hmm.
that in like 1998. And then basically more or less forgot about partner dance, or it just became like a wistful thing that I really wanted to get into one day, maybe, until you and I met.
Mm-hmm.
And then you needed a photo shoot, and I'm a photographer. So we traded a photo shoot for salsa lessons. And when I got into your salsa lessons, I was like, oh boy, this is the good stuff. Um, but it wasn't until I started dancing Lindy Hop and really getting into the swing world that I really fell in love and felt like there was no walking away from this. It was something that was going to be a part of my life for the rest of it.
Yeah, yeah. I'm chuckled when you talked about the swing revival because I think I'm a year older than you, but I was definitely taking East Coast or whatever kind of like swing classes were available to me at around the same age because of the same reason. There's a art school for kids in Seattle called Coyote Junior High,
Oh yeah.
and they offered swing classes.
Oh my God. They
And I
had
took a
swing
swing.
classes at Coyote Central. I love that for
Yes,
you.
Coyote Central.
Yes, yes.
Yes, I think I did. Maybe it was called whatever. I don't.
They might have changed their name. I know it is Coyote Central.
But
Yeah.
I'm still friends with somebody named Andrew, who I'm not going to like name their full name because I don't know if they want to be mentioned on this podcast. But I think you know them too.
I know
We're still
it,
friends,
Andrew.
and they were my dance partner, and we're still homies to this day.
That's so cute. I love that.
We can cut this out. I'm going to tell you right now who Andrew
Okay,
is.
who is it? Tell me.
It's Andrew.
Oh my God, I totally know Andrew.
And I feel like with Andrew's blessing, maybe like we can still talk about this because Andrew back then went by Wordna, which is Andrew backwards.
Oh my God, that's so cute. That's very them.
And we
Yeah.
like were totally in love with each other in like a platonic way, but we were just like so hyped and had the same kind of energy and like we were outcasts in our own lives.
Yeah.
And they're non-binary now too. And they do all kinds of cool
They're
performance
very
stuff.
circusy. They're like a bass player, I
Yeah,
think.
they were
Yeah,
in
you're both bass players.
and we were
too.
both bass players.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was like a huge shining moment in my teenage years of joy.
So cute. I didn't realize Andrew danced. If I ever come across them again, I'm gonna be like, yo, let's dance.
I don't know if they ever did it past that one Coyote
They
Central
seem like they'd be able to
class.
do it.
I know they kind of have the vibe.
How did you get into Latin? How'd you get into Latin dance?
Oh my. Well, it's kind of just it's both very random and also of course every moment in my life kind of led up to it. But I had a friend that's around my parents' age who I grew up with, and I worked for her for a long time. And in the studio, she was an artist. She still is an artist. She was always playing Latin music, and she was a salsa dancer. And she had a big birthday bash at Century Ballroom, which is now Reverie Ballroom. And I had just gone through a breakup, and this is like the old me talking, but I was like, maybe I'll meet someone at the ballroom.
So many people show up to ballrooms to try and fall in love. It's the wrong idea.
It's
Guys, don't
not.
do that.
Yeah. fast forward to now, I think it's a bad idea to date in the dance scene. And that's like another
We'll have
podcast
a whole
episode.
episode on that for sure. We could have a whole series on that.
Yeah, I did not fall in love with any human beings at that ballroom, but I did get the bug really bad.
Mhm.
I just felt like I loved being in a space where people were dancing to music. It wasn't centered around drinking or alcohol. And I don't know, it just felt really lively. And it was like walking into another world that I just didn't know existed. I was like, oh, yeah, probably like salsa dancing, but this was like a real community. And then a couple months later, after lots of partner dancing, just winging it, I took some classes and I was just hooked. I was just completely hooked. I loved the rhythms in salsa. I grew up listening to a lot of jazz and some Latin jazz. And I understood the music in a really deep way. And I did musical theater as a kid and I had my swing years
Mhm.
when I was in middle school and high school. And then, yeah, I got totally immersed and sucked under.
Yeah, that's normally a sign of longevity, or can be, when someone starts dancing and you get completely sucked in.
Hmm.
How long did you have of like rubber to the road, dancing as much as you can, completely obsessed? Like how many years, months,
Oh, it was years.
decade?
I had years. I
Mm-hmm.
had probably 6 years
Wow, 6 years is a
of
lot.
hard dancing. And I was 29,
Yeah.
so I was still pretty energetic.
Mm-hmm.
And I also started teaching like about 8 months in, maybe, no, maybe more like a year in, I started teaching. And so, or like assistant teaching. And so that fueled like a different energy
Yeah.
for it. For me, I just found teaching to be really fulfilling and I hadn't really felt fulfilled in my life. I went to art school and I felt really disenfranchised just with trying to sell myself as an artist. I really didn't like that about the art world, even though I'm an artist to this
Yeah,
day.
I still struggle with
It,
that too.
it really bothers me, even though I know that's part of it is kind of hawking your stuff and your wares out there in the world. So this felt like an opportunity to be creative. And for many, many years, it's felt fulfilling. When you think about Degender Dance, Lou, like, well, what was your first moment when we first started talking about this idea that like sparked it for you, where you were like, yes, there's something in this idea?
The second you said the words degender dance to me, I was just like, yes, that's the best thing ever. Because it was like a little brainchild you had, and you let me in on it, and we started talking about it, and you had it at, like, kind of just started as an Instagram. There's a time there where you and I were just trying to like collaborate on a project, and we didn't know what it was. We just knew that we were creative collaborators, and we messed around. For some reason, it was always an Instagram account that we were trying to start. We had a few. If you remember Tender Connection Club, that was
Oh
like a little
yeah.
thing that was like, yeah. Anyways, but we started messing around with just like reposting videos on Instagram, and then we just realized that there was a rich amount of education that really
Mhm.
needed to happen. We realized that as non-binary dancers, we had like an intersectional view of the dance world that a lot of people don't see. A
Mhm.
lot of people who have like identify with cis or binary genders, they have a lot of privilege in partner dance.
Mhm.
And since we've struggled with trying to find space to fit in, we have a lot of visibility on how a lot more people could be invited into the dance world. And then that's kind of what Degender Dance has turned into, is like really understanding how to shift culture in the partner
Mhm.
dance world to be less of like this weird white supremacist patriarchal thing that it is, and be
Mhm.
more something that's actually true to what dancing is, and having it be like a spiritual based community activity.
Right. That's right. I love hearing that because from my perspective, I was just trying to find a way to keep going because it was my career.
Mm.
So I was like, I was having this identity crisis, like I said, and like, thinking like, do I need to do something completely different? And then actually meeting you was a really big part of my transition because you were the first person I was super close with that was non-binary and using they them pronouns and had transitioned. And so that just sparked this awakening in me that was really powerful. And it was the pandemic. So there was lots of time to sit around and
Lots of
think
time.
about things. And it really has been interesting to see how it's developed since even our first iterations of Degender
Yeah.
Dance, because there is that intersectionality. And the more we dig in, the more we're like, oh, the education is so needed. And like we're learning as we do it too.
Absolutely.
So that's really, really exciting that it's like, it is evolving and the spark is still there, obviously.
There's like endless topics to talk about with Degender Dance too, because we're not just talking about everybody can lead, everyone can follow. We're talking about honoring the roots and history of the dance. We're talking about making the spaces safer for all people to enter it. We're talking about like everyone coming and making them taking up their authentic selves as much as they can. Like to us, Degender Dance means liberating dance from binary thinking.
Yeah, and back to what you said about the spiritual connection to community and the roots and white supremacy, it's like a big part of what that is when, well, I've noticed it just in my own opening and like as we're doing the research we do to make this whole thing possible. What's really coming to light is that it's not just issues to do with gender or stuff from multitudes of years of culture clashing together, being erased. It's those things intersecting. And when you erase certain genders from the space, you're also erasing history. You're also erasing roots. You're also erasing just the communal element of what it means to be a dancer, which means basically anyone.
Yeah, that's one of our main tenets is there's no such thing as a dancer's body because all bodies dance. Like moving around, bouncing your body like to rhythm is one of the first thing babies do. It's just a deeply human experience.
What are the tenets of Degender Dance and how does it relate to the work that we do in this podcast, but we also have like all these other things that we talk about, and where do they converge? We're talking about creating spaces where everyone's welcome. There have like as a teacher, I can tell you so many students come to class just thinking they're bad at dancing.
Yeah, it's like art. It's one of those things like someone long time ago told you that you weren't good at this, and then that judgment just formed this piece of your identity. And it's like, I don't know if anyone's truly bad at dancing. Like, you know, you might be off beat, you might not be making the cutest shapes, but like, are you enjoying yourself? That's more of the marker of, are you enjoying it? That's what matters.
Yeah. So just trying to get people on the bandwagon of movement and dancing together, and that communal space is really powerful. Like you said, Shit Gold was a third space, and we want Degender Dance to be that third space too.
Well, dance inherently creates third spaces. It's like, I mean, it's not technically not because it's like it's like a business, it's owned by somebody and stuff, but it's still a place where people are going and spending time with each other in a communal way where you can just go and exist if you want. It's, you know, a little different because there's always a specific activity that you're engaging in, but like in a lot of dance spaces, you can just go sit to the side and just exist. And that's truly like what a third space is that there's no other requirement of you except showing up and holding community.
Yeah, that's so real. And I think a lot of people don't understand that. Like when I first came into Century Ballroom in whatever year that was, it was like I felt really compelled to like hustle and get really good. And I could have just as easily never taken a dance class and still gone to that space and
There's
totally
plenty of
enjoyed
people who
myself.
do that. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. And I think that that's something that we feel a lot of pressure in Seattle because this is a really air quotes great city for partner dance because there's so much of it going on. And there's also this pressure to be this really good like really air quotes good dancer
Mm-hmm.
here because so many people are so experienced. So many people here in the scene are also teachers that like everybody just wants to be the best dancer in the room. And the further we've gone down our path of degender dance, the more we realize that that's like a fallacy
Mm-hmm.
of honestly capitalism, of
Right.
like your worth is contained in how good your productivity is. And that's just like not it, especially in like a liberatory hobby.
Right.
Like, why are you trying so hard? You're losing sleep over this. You're destroying your body. Like, deep breaths,
Doing it
y'all.
wrong. Doing it wrong.
Yeah.
I want to ask you a question about like the air quotes good, because I don't think of Seattle as a high level Latin dance scene. There's a great community, but like when you think about like New York, that's like the kind of mecca for great dancers. But
Yeah.
is it different for Lindy? Is Seattle like
no,
the
I would
spot?
say Seattle's got, I mean, yeah, like Los Angeles, New York, if, some other cities are definitely going to have like the super famous experienced dancers. But when it comes to just like your average dancer in the ballroom, Seattle's got some pretty like technically high dancers here. And although that's like can make really fun for, your Wednesday night social, I worry about people's mental health sometimes in the community because people are pushing themselves really hard and placing a lot of value on like how good their swing outs are.
Mm-hmm.
And I personally don't feel like that's like the best marker of personal value.
Right. That doesn't make you a good person.
I mean, good, bad, like whatever. Like I try to not use words of judgment like that, but like if you think that you're, having a better swing out is going to make you like happier and sleep better at night and make your mom love you finally, like you might finally get to that really good swing out. And guess what? None of those things are going to happen.
Right.
And that's okay, man. Like it didn't need to be the swing out that did those things. Maybe therapy would have been a little bit more helpful.
Wow. Evil laughter over here. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that makes me think of like the connection between somatics and like attachment theory and
Oh, yeah.
dance. Like I remember like before I really started teaching and like my first year of dancing, my friend and I would the friend that had that birthday party, we went social dancing 1 or 2 nights a week. And then
Mm.
I would go like another night. Like I was out 3 nights a week at least and then taking, classes or whatever. So we'd always just leave the social and we'd usually like spend 30 minutes hobnobbing about like our experience and
Yeah.
the people we
You have
danced
to go
with.
debrief. You got to go get the tea, the
Gotta
after
get-
social tea.
Got to get the tea. Who'd you like dancing with? Who'd you
Yeah.
not like dancing with? What did you, anything weird happen? And like
Mhm.
looking back, so much weird stuff happened that we were just like, well, see you next week. Like,
Yeah, there's a lot of talk about a space for like microaggressions to run rampant.
wow.
Like we're literally going into a space and creating art with each other's bodies. And it doesn't like need to be that. We can be like collaborating with each other and stuff, but like when there is a mindset of like men lead and the lead has control over the follow's body and the follow is a woman, like uh-oh, that could go not well really fast. Like that's a really rough power dynamic that could bring a lot of harm both emotionally and definitely to people's bodies. When you're dancing for the biggest, fanciest moves along with these gender power dynamics, it's like a recipe for disaster.
Totally. And like back to the creating art with, somebody else's body and your own body. If you're not conscientious of that element alone, it's just even as a follow, it's very easy to step into to agreements that you didn't know you stepped into.
Yes.
Right. And so I just remember we would debrief and our takeaway at the end of it was partner dancers are weird.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
boy, what a bunch of weirdos. And then the second thought to that was, we're partner dancers. Are we weird too? Like, are we doing weird stuff? And like, now I can see that, yes, we're weird, but we were also following.
Right. You're not the one setting the dynamic.
Not in those days. And
Mm-mm.
not with our skill level or awareness. We were just, beholden to whatever wave we happen to jump onto
Yeah.
by entering into a dance. And that really fucked with my attachment system. I really think it did. Moving, movement is somatic. So there were things about dancing that really healed me.
Yeah.
And then there were other things that were just over time, deep microaggressions and like abuse that, I still kind of deal with now.
Yeah. Yeah, there's this kind of interesting phenomenon that happens. And like, as someone who tries to lead as much as I follow, it definitely happens with following way more than leading, because
Mm-hmm.
you are not the one setting the tone of the situation. That you'll be like, you'll walk away from a dance and sometimes you're like, woo, that was really fun. It was so exhilarating. Or you even walk away from the dance being like, wow, that was a lot. And then like a few weeks later, or maybe even a few years later, you look back and you're like, oh my God, my body was not respected.
Mm-hmm.
And that felt really gross and bad.
Totally. And then add the element of just, 12 years ago, even, it was the norm that I waited to be asked. So there was also the pick me energy of having
the
to
pick
be
me
a
energy,
follow.
so big. You have to force yourself into a really feminine box, because being femme means that you'll get asked to dance.
Right. And I was hyper femme back then, and I still wasn't getting picked. And so then you start, as a person conditioned to be, female from day one, I really just thought, what am I doing wrong?
Yeah.
And so now we're getting into therapy mode 101, but like,
well, a lot of this podcast will be us just doing therapy. Sometimes you need a lot of therapy to heal from the dance
It's
world,
true.
even though the dance is therapy, so social dancing, you need to talk through it.
I know. And I know people will listen and understand that. And I know from being a lead now, because I've been leading a lot for the last several years, I know that there's stuff that goes on when you lead too. I still, no matter what goes wrong in a dance, I always apologize when I'm
Yes.
leading, because I'm like, oh, I don't know enough moves, or, oh, I just repeated the same 5 things, or I missed a hit, or, because I'm holding the space. And so I know that men and leads of all genders have a struggle too.
Absolutely. They absolutely do. And one of those big struggles is just being confident too, because I have that, oh my God, that inclination to apologize is so big. And it's, not, that does not rigidly go along gender lines. But if you're socialized as a woman and then you step into lead, oh, that feeling to apologize, because
Right.
you are socialized to not be the one leading. So if you're leading, you're like, oh God, I'm doing it wrong. Like, you have so much judgment around it. And like, truly, your followers just having a good time. Like, they didn't even notice that there was a hit that was missed. Like, what? So I tried to really only apologize if some sort of physical uncomfort happens.
Yeah.
And even if that wasn't my fault, like, or if even if I perceived that it wasn't my fault, then it's still, I apologize. Because I'm the one leading. I'm the one that set the space. So even if it's like, I perceive that happened because my follows frame wasn't quite whatever, blah, de blah, I'm still going to apologize, because you know what? It was my decision to lead that move. So my fault. So I say sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. I feel like I want to ask, I think I know, but can you talk about like when you transitioned to becoming a lead or a switch dancer? Were you always a switch dancer?
No,
Talk about that for a
definitely
second.
showed up. When I first started dancing, like in your salsa classes, I was definitely following.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went into the bachata room and messed around and was definitely following. Just because I was super femme at the time, and like, when you're first starting, following's easier.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's one of the worst tricks of the patriarchy, that it's like, okay, man, you have no idea how to do this dance. Go out there and be the one in charge. Like, that's really hard and
It's
kind
so
of
hard.
messed up. Like, I think that everyone should start following. And then once you have the rhythm and the beat down, then learn some moves. That
Totally.
just seems easier on everyone to me. When I showed up to the Lindy Hop world, I kept following again because that was just the mode that I was in. And then I went to a local event here that we have called Camp Jitterbug. And it was my first big dance event. And I was literally in a gymnasium, and a really great teacher pair named Peter and Lauren, they were teaching, and they split the class into leads and follows. And I went on to the follow side, and I looked around, and I was literally in a gymnasium surrounded by all women. And then I looked across the room, and that's where all the men were. And my, like, grade school trauma was just like,
Mm-hmm.
"Fuck no. Like, I'm not participating in this. This feels like my authentic self is being completely ignored in this space."
Mm-hmm.
Because when I was a little kid, I'd have, like, crying fits in gym class all the time because they'd split people up by gender, and then I would feel like I didn't belong anywhere because I truly felt like I belonged either on the boys' side or in the middle.
Right.
Like, bathrooms even confused me in grade school. I was like,
Mm-hmm.
"Why do I have to go in this room? That doesn't make sense to me." So it was like in that moment of that uncomfort that I knew to honor my inner self and like my inner child, that like leading had to be a part of that. And then as soon as I learned just a little bit of leading, I was like, "Oh wait, there's this thing called switch dancing. I
Mm-hmm.
can literally be like a little genderqueer, non-binary in the way I dance as well." And then once you get into how juicy the energy can be in a switch dance, that's like, oof. I truly feel that that's where the real magic in dance is when you're
Mm-hmm.
passing that energy back and forth.
I love that. Yeah, I love that story too because it's like, on the one hand, so familiar, that feeling, but I didn't have that feeling until like a few years ago. Like
Mm-hmm.
I was so checked out from my body in grade school. I didn't even have a perception of myself. I was just like in survival mode right around the pandemic, and then also just being so surrounded by weirdos and queer people from shit gold. And then like I also went to an all women's college, which like looking back, I'm like, yeah,
Gay. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. um, but yeah, so that healing happened to me in like 2020,
hmm
where I was like, oh shit, I'm kind of trapped in my environment, and I felt like I had to find a whole new way
Yeah.
to create it. And now, I mean, that's another topic, but I social dance very little, maybe for 20 minutes a week at a practica every Sunday. And with my students, of course, as well. But now that I'm switching back and forth, and there's a handful of students I have that do switch back and forth, and now that I'm leading, oh man, I love leading.
Yeah.
I love following too, but I love leading. I mean, it's just so fulfilling to do
Yeah.
that.
Leading's really fun. There's like following's amazing because you get to be so present. You get to really express yourself. I feel like the follow is the focal point of the dance. So you get
Mhm.
to be the pretty, shiny, cool one. And then I feel like leading, you're the facilitator. You're the
Mhm.
one creating the space for the follow to take up. You're the one
Mhm.
making the shapes, and then the follow is the one filling them. So, like, leading, you get to be the decision maker. You get to, like, plan what's coming next. You get to do all the cool, weird little dance math about, like, "Oh, if I put a rock step here, then I'm gonna offset our timing, blah de blah de blah." And also you get to be a caretaker. You get
Mhm.
to, like, facilitate space for somebody to be their authentic full selves, and, like, to me personally, I don't think there's anything better than that.
Yeah, I love that part about it too, and especially being a salsa follow for so long, it's like one move at a time. I feel like I'm healing all the weird shit that
Oh,
happened
I love that for you.
because I know, like, I'll toot my own horn just a little bit. I know I'm a gentle, communicative lead, and I know most of the time I'm able to facilitate something that isn't super flashy, not at that level, but it's consistent and it's gentle.
Yeah.
And that feels chef's kiss.
I'm so into that too. I had a bit of time getting into leading where I was like, I need more moves. I need more moves. I need to do more cool stuff. I need to have all the fancy shapes. I need it. And then I was like, yo, if I just have a cozy swing out that people enjoy following, I'm good.
Mhm.
If I've got a move where I can slow down and like be able to chat with my dance partner, that's actually like the more important move for
Mhm.
me, more than like, I gotta spin them 25 times in a row. Like, yeah,
Totally.
definitely.
Yeah, I always think about it like in baseball, they talk about like short ball wins the game. Basically, like,
Mm,
a single here, a double there, maybe you steal a base. Sometimes a home run's going to win the game, but for me, small ball is like the rhythm, the groove, the dance line, like doing interesting things with the dance line, and that's it.
yeah,
We're
yeah.
just grooving.
Keep it simple, Smarty. I
Exactly.
love that. And there's some really good dance values too. Like I really love that kind of thing. Another value that I think that we both really hold is always loving the basics and the
Mhm.
beginner stuff. I know that you've been teaching like a beginner salsa team for what, like 8 years now or something like
Mhm.
that. And um, for me, I'm just getting into teaching, but I think I'm always going to love teaching the beginners and getting down into those basic steps and just really learning how to make those as clear and as wonderful as possible. And then, like, if you're really diving into that, that's super fulfilling, actually.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's so fulfilling. Yeah, I mean, I have like a real passion for it, and I think it's under taught. I really do. I think, figuring out how to feel the floor, figuring out how to make a progression happen just through the way you use your foot or whatever, that stuff I feel really strongly about. And if you can find any interest in that, you can be a great dancer and know very little
Right.
in terms of figures.
Because you're going to feel really good to
Yeah.
whoever you dance with. And that's truly like, especially the more advanced of a dancer, I don't want to say advanced, the more that we have been dancing and the more understanding you get of like how different people feel when you dance with them, when you get with someone that you haven't danced with before and you feel that their connection is really comfortable, and then all of their movements are really, really clear, like, who cares what the moves are at that point? It just is a great dance.
Totally. Oh, yeah. That's so real, and I don't remember which person this was. I can't it might have been Frankie Martinez. He was just talking about, the difference between, like, technique and advancement in your dancing,
Mhm.
and that technique is really all about feeling
Mm.
and
Mhm.
connecting,
Yeah.
and when we talk about that, then there's, like, real communication that can happen between both parties, and that's a big part of degendering dance. Just, like, allowing both people to talk on the
Absolutely.
dance floor.
Absolutely. There is, I'm going to try and tell this story very succinctly. I have a friend named Luz Gaxiola down in Olympia, and they made a clown play.
Oh my
That
god,
was an
that's
incredible
amazing.
piece of art. It
Oh
was
my god.
truly amazing. It was very, very gay, like the queerest, funniest clown play I've ever seen. And the whole thing was that there was these two old male friends that accidentally, through a miscommunication, end up in a homosexual polyamorous relationship with each other.
With each other.
With yeah,
Amazing.
and they're like deeply in love and deeply attracted to each other, but especially since the relationship started through a miscommunication, they end up like the whole play is about them just getting lost in the emotional landscape of polyamory and like dating outside of binary gender norms. And at the end of the play, it gets to a point where they're like trying to communicate with each other and they're like, okay, we got to like discuss our needs and what we want. And we have to be vulnerable and just like tell each other like what we authentically need to say. And they're like, or we could just be monogamous. And that's like the moral of the play. And I think about that a lot because what heteronormativity and monogamy does is it takes the autonomy away from both people and gives you a script that you have to follow.
Mhm.
And when we take that out and when we actually degender the dances that we're doing, then you actually have to have discussions.
Right.
Then in dance, that means that true collaboration can happen.
Mhm. Yeah, and that asks both parties to be communicating with
Yeah.
themselves and with each other, both physically and non-physically. I mean, I really think there's a huge there's a big range of things you can do on the dance floor to give and receive space, and that's the communication and the movement. And that also ties into the spiritual element too. It's like, a lot of these dance forms, all of these dance forms have a spiritual link to them if you go far back enough. And
Yeah.
it's really
Oh,
not that far
absolutely.
back.
Yeah. Well, we are all out there activating our attachment systems and our own authentic selves and our nervous systems. And like when you get down to it, that's what spirituality is. It's just existing inside your body in community on this earth.
And yeah, like salsa too, in a really forward way is it's a prayer
Mhm.
to get some kind of something you want. It's for a good crop, or it's to find a partner, or to conceive, or it's really just it's a very simple way to pray.
Mhm.
And that, of course, trickles down into all elements of life. And as people now, I don't think people realize that's what they're doing.
No, I also think that's why people show up though. Because we're
Totally.
completely devoid from spirituality and religion in modern lives.
Totally.
And I think that's why people get addicted to it.
Totally
Because it's
agree.
like, oh my God, I feel like a human being. I need to do this every day. And it's like, yeah, because capitalism kind of stole that from you. So you're getting just a little glimpse of it here on the dance floor.
I know. It's like, do you think salsa is sexy because of the sequins? No, man. It's sexy because it's literally a human to spirit communication, and also just human to human. That's
Absolutely.
so deep
Yeah.
when you can access it. And I mean, I think people are accessing it all the time. I just love the idea that people access it with awareness and autonomy and um, conviction and passion for what they're doing in each other.
Well, that's what all of these African diaspora dances are, is truly their co-opted spirituality, because
Mhm.
because Lindy Hop is it's black spirituality.
Mhm.
Because when people were kidnapped from Africa and sold into slavery, they lost their connection with their spirituality, which was drum circles, things like, you dancing in community. And when you do stuff like that, everybody's heartbeat syncs up, everybody's nervous systems all light up the same way. And then when they were stolen and brought here, they weren't allowed to dance. Their drums were taken away. They had to sever their connection with that. So then it was when the Harlem Renaissance came around, that connection to that spirituality came roaring back in its own way, and it turned into this really specific beautiful thing that was very authentically black American.
Mhm.
And then it got co-opted by white supremacy, and it turned into something different that not a lot of black Americans do anymore.
Right.
And I think that that is something really important that every Lindy Hopper should be very aware of.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I mean, that's another major thing driving this that we're doing right now is this podcast, our business, what we do with Degender Dance. As a white person teaching Latin dance, I have questions every day about
Yeah.
what I'm doing.
Mhm.
And the only thing keeping me going is acknowledging that I only know what I know,
Yeah.
and I am not the carrier of this information other than what I know, and people have to do research.
Yeah.
You gotta look. I can kind of point in the direction every class. I think it's really important to highlight that. But there are so many people doing this stuff that have no idea the depth of history
Yeah.
around what it is, and so that's a really that's a huge outcome I'd like to see from just people talking about it more.
Absolutely. Yeah. And just like feeling a hunger to learn about the history and the roots and like actually honoring that just as much as you feel a hunger to learn more
Totally. That's like a great, I'm like, I want to soundbite that for every class I ever teach.
moves.
Yeah, I mean, think about what would happen if that was equal, had equal focus
Yeah.
in the classroom. I'd be like, well, I think a lot of people would get really deep into it, and some people just wouldn't come back.
Right.
And
Yeah.
and I don't know, I mean, maybe that's just the culture shift we're going through right now, but I do think more and more and more, especially too, I wanna say as stuff comes to light in these communities about what's going on with power dynamics,
Mhm.
I think this is just an inevitability,
Yes.
and we can talk maybe more about that now, or maybe that's another podcast, but, stuff is changing in the dance scene, and it's also still the same. So it's like there's still more to be done, and there's still more education for people out there, a lot of education.
Yes.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Where do you see like where do you see the dance world in 5 years? Or what's your hope and dream?
My hope and dream for the dance world in 5 years is that social dancing comes back as a thing that everybody just does.
Mhm.
It's been relegated to this really specific hobby that people do. Like it's a high impact sport, high
Mhm.
impact, high competitive, fancy ass thing. And I really want it to go back to like what my dad was raised doing, that it was just like you went out to the bar and people were dancing.
I love that.
That you threw a party and you had to make sure you moved the furniture out of the way because there was gonna be dancing because parties have dances. I just want it to like come back, and I want queer people to specifically come to partner dancing to queer it and to
Mhm.
make it something that we use to explore and expand our gender expression.
I love that. Yes. Yeah, that's a great vision. I like that too. That's very in alignment. I don't think I would have said it the same way. That's super in alignment with, like, thoughts and feelings I've had where I just want people to, like, groove out. I mean, we've already kinda talked about this, but I just want dance to be like a groove out instead of a focus on what's next, what's better, what could I have done better, what do I need to what figures do I need to learn, what do I need to master,
Yes.
how do I need to push my body, how little am I gonna brag about how little sleep I got because I was training so hard? Like, that's fucking crazy, man.
Yeah.
Like, absolutely not.
Like, how do we dance in the moment? How do we dance to be present instead of always be dancing for our next best dance?
Mhm. Yeah, and it's true that when you're, like, really in the groove with your dancing, it's hard not to go hard.
It's true.
It's so hard,
If it's
so
like a really good song and the partner's like, and you guys are really in the groove, like those ideas get bigger and more fun. Yeah.
yeah, or if you're just in, like, the phase of your life where you're just, like, into going hard.
Mhm.
I mean, I've been there, and there were a couple years in there that I really regret, because I went too hard,
Yeah.
and now I'm like, "Nope."
Yeah. When you go real hard for real long, the burnout will come for you.
But
Yeah.
yeah, but I also don't go that much anymore because most people are going hard,
Yeah.
and I
Yeah.
just wanna groove.
Right.
I just wanna do I just wanna hang out, I wanna enjoy the evening, I wanna be with people I care about,
Mhm.
I wanna be around people that get it, that get me, and that's a big vote for queering the space. Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of queer people just it's changing with businesses like the amazing Queer Chata.
Yes.
Such
Queerchata. Oh, we're obsessed with you, Queerchata.
Go follow Queer Chata,
Yes.
go take Queer Chata classes because, there's just there isn't a lot of that available, and I think a lot of people that are, othered in various ways don't feel like it's a space for them,
Right.
and that's my vision is that people feel like it's for me no matter who you are.
Yes, because it truly is. Like dance,
Right.
democratize dance, make it so everybody gets it. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. I that's my vision for the next 5 years of dance is just everybody and their mom and their queer uncle is out dancing.
Yes. Wouldn't it be cute if we could all dance with our moms? and our
Oh,
uncles?
yes, it would be.
Yeah, that'd be really sweet.
It would be really, really
Yeah.
sweet. That's like a whole topic.
It is multi-generational.
I just got in my
dancing
feels for a second there.
podcast coming soon.
Yeah. I love that. This was a nice conversation. I love that we've like been doing this for years and I still like learned something about you.
There's like endless amounts to learn, either like about each other and also about like dancing and stuff. It's like one of those topics that will never end, which is why we have probably years of this podcast ahead of us with tons of subjects to do.
Oh, I mean, if we play our cards right, this shit's never ending.
Never ending. We have so many cool guests.
Yes.
We have brainstormed a pretty awesome list of guests that we want to talk to on this podcast. I'm pretty excited to get them on here.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. There's a lot of folks to talk to.
And about, the tea will also be spilt.
Oh God, the tea. I know. There's so much tea.
Thanks for listening to Degender Dance, everybody.
Yeah, it's been really fun to chat, and I hope you come back and listen to whatever we cook up for you next time.
Yeah, sounds good. All right.
Cha-cha-cha, rock step, cha-cha-cha, rock step, triple step, ooh-ah, ee-ee-ah, jazz hands.